right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's actually a midday edition here on the Fans Only Sports Network of Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. I'm your host, Chet, and to my right here is my counterpart, Duffy. Duffy, how are we doing today, man? It's very weird for us to be doing a show this early in the day, but
Sure is nice to get out of the way on a Thursday, midday show. Hopefully our viewers on Facebook will, peep this when they get out of work. But yeah, we're excited to get after. We got a lot of good football to talk about, and a lot of big action across the league this week. So we're very excited to get into it. And Chet, how are you doing today, my friend? It was good seeing you last night
yeah,
up
that
in
was a good time hanging out with Shinobi and
Smithfield. Yeah, we saw Shinobi. Had a good time. So
yeah, we had a great time. We definitely had a good time. It was always good to see my partner in crime. And be sure to check us out this weekend as Chet and Duffy will be on the call at LaSalle Academy between the LaSalle Rams and the North Kingstown Skippers. Winner of that matchup in the semifinals will go on to be the representative in Division One Rhode Island State Championship. And that'll be determined this Friday to see if it's the LaSalle Rams or the North Kingstown Skippers. The North Kingstown Skippers are actually the Division One defending Super Bowl champs. So we'll see if they'll be able to hold on to that title right there.
yep, winner plays the winner of Hendricken and Central. We will not have that game, but which we did, unfortunately. But it's gonna be a dogfight this game on Friday. So we're very excited for it tomorrow night.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely excited for that call. But let's hop into the NFL talk and kind of starting right out of the gate. We have to talk about the New England Patriots who have battled back from a loss, a very devastating loss to the Chicago Bears, managed to defeat the Jets in a close one away. And then they come back home and face the Indianapolis Colts in this matchup. We weren't really sure how it was going to go. But at the end of the day, the Patriots took care of business. Final score of 26-3. Sam Ehlinger only held to 103 passing yards and throwing one pick and was sacked 9 times in the game. The defense was alive like no other. Deion Jackson had 11 carries for 23 yards. Ehlinger led the team in rushing with 39. And then through the air, not really much to be said. I mean, 6 targets for Michael Pittman, who only received 3 of them. And for the Patriots, Mac Jones, very weird day for him. Only 1 touchdown, was sacked 4 times in the game. Threw for 147 passing yards. Ramondre Stevenson doing it on the ground again and through the air, managing to catch the only touchdown. 3 catches for 10 yards and a TD, and then 15 carries for 60 yards on the ground. Patriots took care of business, but they have to thank their defense for really carrying the weight in this one, Duffy.
Yeah, defense really stepped up big. They were awesome. 2 touchdowns on the game for the Pats. One of them was defensive touchdown, a pick 6 for Jonathan Jones, only about 15 yards out on a tip pass, but ugly win for the Pats. As much as you want to deny it, perhaps the Pats fans, an ugly win from an offensive standpoint. Another back-to-back games with settling for 4 field goals. I mean, Nick Folks is probably the best kicker in fantasy football right now.
Yeah, for
As
certain.
many times the Pats are settling for 3, but if the Pats play like that against 25 other teams in the league, maybe 20, they probably lose that game. I mean, the Colts, not a good football team. Second game for Sam Ehlinger, last game in the Frank Reich tenure. We'll talk about that soon, but just an ugly win offensively. But that Pats defense, like we've been saying all year, this is a stout defense, one of the most elite in the league. Probably a top 3 or 4 defense in the NFL right now with the way they've been playing. 9 sacks against a good offensive line or a solid offensive line. They have not been great this year, the Indianapolis Colts, but in years past, they've been pretty solid. I think about 4 or 5 of those came in the first quarter. I mean, it was a crazy way to start.
Yeah.
And there was a graphic. It was Indianapolis Colts offense, 10 plays, averaging 0.1 yards per play. They had 1 yard off their first 10 plays. But
and that's already after firing their offensive coordinator a week or 2 ago now.
Yeah.
And then Frank Reich, which we'll get to, also fired as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, and we'll be sure to talk about his replacement in just a few moments.
Well, I think everyone who's been watching the Pats for a long time knew this was going to be a pick-me-up game for New England against a young quarterback in his second start at home. His first win at home this year, and to no one's surprise, really, at least to not mine. because I know the Pats. They were not losing that game the other day
Yeah.
against Sam Ellinger. They were covering that spread. They were 5-point favorites, won by 23. It's a great game for the Pats from a defensive standpoint, but offense gotta fix some things. That play calling is so questionable. It's the only thing holding
Hmm.
them back really right now is the offensive play calling. Just the offense in general. I mean, it's been tough sledding. That first half was tough to watch. And the only offensive touchdown, if you remember, Chet, was set up by a muff punt by the Colts inside the 10-yard line. So Pats kind of got bailed out at times, but rather be lucky than good. And Sunday, got them back over 500 for the first time all season. So can't complain. Good win for the Pats. So, I think similar things to what I said last week too about the Jets game. Ugly offense, stellar defense, and similar story this past Sunday. But 5-4, got a bye this week, got the Jets the week after, and hopefully after 2 games over 500 on the season.
Yeah. Yeah. So far, I mean, the Patriots, like we said, it was just a very sloppy victory. Something they're going to have to work on in the bye week. It's a good thing kind of came at this time. Mac Jones was definitely still kind of lingering from that injury a bit. Sacked several times in that game, despite Ellinger getting sacked another 9. Offensive line really needs to lock those things up. Run game, it's doing it. It's doing what it needs to do. It's opening the holes, getting the space that the Pats offense needs. The passing game, that's been the one thing this season that really needs to step up. If you look at the numbers, like I said, only 147 on the night, or on the day, I should say. Whatever. Anyways, Hunter Henry led the team with only 50 yards on the game. Jonnu Smith kind of slowly starting to get involved. 3 catches. Jacoby Myers, 5 catches, 42 yards. But the problem is we're just not seeing a lot of yards to be gained through the air by Mac Jones. I mean, only averaging 4.9 yards per pass. Not to say that he needs to have any more yardage than that, but you need more production. And I feel like the production in the past couple of weeks, we haven't seen him throw for over 250 on the year yet. So that's just something that really needs to be addressed, because this is one of the probably worst passing offenses in terms of numbers statistics in the NFL. So I think in the bye week, they need to establish something. It was something that was kind of an issue in the beginning of the season, was we were seeing Mac take stupid chances that resulted in turnovers. And now at this point, the production has just been lowered. They're winning games now, but if they want to beat good teams like per se down the stretch, you got the Buffalo Bills coming up, and then you've got several other teams. Like, let me go ahead and take a look at the schedule real quick for the Patriots as we kind of get in towards the bye week discussion, which we'll quickly kind of just say. They've got the Jets, they got the Vikings, the Bills, the Cardinals, the Raiders, and then the Bengals. Like, this schedule is difficult right out of the gate. The Patriots could easily lose 6 of these games. Maybe even I wouldn't say 6. Well, actually, let me retract that for a minute. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would say they lose.
They could lose 5.
That's what I was going to say. 5.
I don't think they're going to lose 5 though. And this team has the potential to go in and be contentious with any squad in the league.
Mm-hmm.
That those 2 Bills games are going to be very difficult. Obviously, that
it's going to be a chess game.
Minnesota game on Thanksgiving will be difficult. Bengals game on Christmas Eve at home will be difficult, and going to Miami Week 18 will be difficult. Those are 5 difficult games. I don't think they lose all of them. We got Arizona and Las Vegas, 2 primetime road games as well.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize we were playing them on Thanksgiving.
Some crazy stuff. It's a crazy schedule. The second half of the year definitely is tough for New England. I think they have the second hardest remaining schedule in the league. I think that was the graphic I saw the other day during the game. And it won't be easy, but I think this team's made for it. Do they make the playoffs? Probably not. I mean, if I'm being realistic, they're only 5-4. This AFC is the best division in football right now for the first time in years.
Yeah.
And every team's over 500, which is a rare feat in the NFL. So
yeah,
they're gonna have to really crunch out some close wins and get in the trenches, show what this team's all about.
Yeah. So I mean, the things that I'd say that I want to see from the Patriots post bye week is I want to see the running backs back to full strength and being healthy, because obviously Damian Harris has been struggling with his health and staying maintained. Stevenson needs to keep that production going as he has been. He's literally become a feature back as of this rate. And then for the passing offense, that just needs to be reworked. And there needs to be a lot more inclusion of all these other pieces. Because, I mean, like we said, you got Jonnu Smith, who's getting paid a like what? 40-50 million dollars, and he only has like maybe
4 years, like $64 million
yeah.
contract.
It's like, dude, this guy's literally getting paid millions of dollars, and he hasn't even accumulated over 500 receiving yards in 2 years. 2 years. Like, that's
He
crazy.
has 154 yards this year.
That's awful. Like, how should
Right.
this guy be getting paid this much money to do nothing? They got to get all these weapons involved in a certain way, because honestly, with this 2 tight end set, it should be good. It should be. Like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, those are 2 guys who, when they were solo guys in their own offenses, could produce at any rate. But that's just been taken off the table at this point. And
Sure
I
has.
think it's just because of poor play design. So play design needs to come into play. That's the third thing I want to see is better play design.
Belichick needs to suck up his ego and get an actual offensive mastermind. It's
That
pissing me
too.
off. It's disgusting. Wasting all this time, wasting all this money. At least Matt Judon looks great.
Yeah.
Give him a lot of money. Leading the league in sacks with 11.5 through 9 games. It's crazy to think about. Candidate for Defensive Player of the Year right now. But
Yeah. And I mean, hey, in a way, maybe this team is one offensive coordinator away from actually being a good squad.
And this team, if they do get that OC for next year, we can accept, not yet, but maybe down the road in December, that this might not be the Pats' year to make the playoffs and be contentious, but next year could be.
Yeah.
The defense is elite, and this is a top 5 defense in the NFL right now, undoubtedly. So got to fix the offensive woes. No reason Mac Jones should have 4 touchdown passes in 6 starts, I think it is.
Yeah. It's abysmal.
It's abysmal, man.
Very mediocre at best.
Terrible. Yeah.
But yeah, so those are the things we want to see from the bye week. Of course, we'll kind of discuss what we hear in news in passing and all that. And then next week, we'll give you the preview for the New York Jets, because that's going to be a big game coming back to Gillette Stadium to face the team after narrowly defeating them. But this team managed to take down the Buffalo Bills last week. That was something nobody expected. Now the Bills have lost to both the Dolphins and the Jets on the season, which is crazy to think about. So it kind of begs the question at the same time.
Maybe the AFC East is just their biggest woe right now.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm thinking, hey, maybe that could be the Achilles heel of the Bills this year. It's their own division.
New England's got them twice. They got them once at home on Thursday night, prime time. That's gonna be a huge game. Pats are wearing the red throwbacks that game too.
Again?
Yeah,
that's sick.
Sick. So we'll see. We'll see.
All right, so that concludes our portion on the New England Patriots. We'll move to another headline that we should definitely go over before we go into some players of the week, like we've been doing, like we just started last week. I think that's going to be a weekly trend on this show at this point, is to give our top 3 players of the week. So we were just mentioning the Colts. Colts firing Frank Reich last week. The team just has not really worked out, and each season he goes from going to the postseason with Phillip Rivers, missing the postseason last season with Carson Wentz, and now this season going 3-6-1 on the year with a team that definitely had a lot of hype, a lot of pieces that could develop into a winning team, and it just declined rapidly and very aggressively. And so they decide to go with, for an intern coach, ESPN analyst and former Indianapolis Colts center, Jeff Saturday. And I mean, hey, Jeff Saturday, I love the guy. From ESPN, I mean, I love what he has to say about the Colts. I love what he has to say in general. But it's an interesting pick, because he even said in the post, like in the, in the press conference, I wasn't sure why I was picked as a candidate to begin with. Almost.
I sent Chet the edited video that was going on Instagram of Jim Irsay, Colts owner. This guy's never sober. And seemed pretty cocked the whole time he was at the
Wait, what? You think?
Dude, that guy is always on something. Yeah. I remember the first game, they won after Chuck Pagano was diagnosed with leukemia 10 years ago. He was in the locker room so hammered, crying his eyes out. It was a great moment, but it was so funny. But this Jeff Saturday hire might be one of the most all-time tank moves in league history. I mean, this is a crazy move. Getting Jim Irsay's a goat for that. He's getting his boy a bag but also wants a top 3 pick in the draft. Getting this guy Jeff Saturday some NFL coaching experience. There's no way in hell this guy should have been hired as the head coach. I think everyone
No.
knows that. Has no college or NFL coaching experience. Now he's taking the reins of the team. This is going to be interesting to see. I've never been more excited for a Colts game in my life as I am for next week's game against the Raiders in Vegas.
God. Dude, the Colts are going to get mauled.
We have McDaniels and Jeff Saturday going head-to-head, two guys, very, very uncertain question marks about their jobs next year. But hey, this is an all-time tank move for the Indianapolis Colts. This is a quarterback class next year in the draft, with 4 guys potentially going in the first round. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Will Levis, and Hendon Hooker, and even more potentially. But I think the Colts are looking for one of those guys. They might go the veteran move next year and trade for Aaron Rodgers like they have the last few years trading for veterans. But I think they got to get rid of that little phase era they've been in.
Yeah.
Just trying to rebuild, restart. So Jeff Saturday might be the guy to help propel them to a top, 3 pick in the draft this year.
Yeah, because we've seen teams do this before, like the New York Giants, for instance. They get Saquon Barkley out of the draft, and this team was just in full rebuild until, honestly, now they actually look like a good team. It's taken a few years, but I think the Colts aren't going to have to part ways with pieces like they might with pieces like maybe Michael Pittman, but not with pieces like Jonathan Taylor. I think Jonathan Taylor's a guy you have.
What happened? Michael Pittman's not going anywhere. He's in his 3rd year now, huh? So last year will be the last year of his rookie contract. Next year will be. Chet, where'd your audio go, dude? All right, he's saying 1 sec. Hey, the Colts Mickey team dome squad. Nope, can't hear you, man.
Oh, can you hear me now?
We're good. Yes, we're good.
Okay. So my point is, Michael Pittman, he could get moved. That's a piece I could see getting moved. But Jonathan Taylor, hell no. I think that's a guy you have to keep. You have to keep him because that's a vocal point of that offense that we saw. But a little bit different this year. Very banged up. So I don't know. There's a lot in question of what the Colts can do in terms of maybe trading. But definitely tanking is the best option as of this point. Get yourself a better draft pick and get yourself in a position to move up. And don't trade. Don't. Because like you said, Duffy, I love that point. They've already done that a million times with Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, and now Matt Ryan. It's like, dude, enough. You've literally done 3 straight years of changing your quarterback, changing the whole team chemistry. And it's crazy because the first year, it looked good. The second year looked just as good. And now this year, it's awful. Absolutely awful. And looked good last year until the very end of the year. And it was just
because the Colts were a good team last year. People always forget that the Colts were a good football team. They were one of the hottest teams in the league in November, December. Then they lose their last 2 games to Vegas and Jacksonville. And then Vegas sneaks in, and Jacksonville just still got the number 1 pick in the draft. It was funny.
Yeah, which was so funny.
It's like you said, Chad, this is a system that has worked in the past, but it's about time it's done. I think Matt Ryan was probably the worst out of all 3 of these options. He led the league in turnovers this year. He has not looked the same. Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback? I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, really kind of thwarted his legacy a little bit. Going out there, 9 touchdowns, 9 picks, was on pace for the most fumbles in league history. He had 9 fumbles in the first 4 games of the year.
It's horrible.
Playing terrible. And that offensive line, you can give him some blame too, but this Colts team they've not looked good. They've not exceeded any expectations. And it's just crazy that this team beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Beat the Chiefs. That game was hella rigged, though. I'm not even gonna lie. Questionable calls against KC.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, man, Matt Ryan. Maybe we'll see him again with Saturday coaching because when it comes to all these guys, tanking, the coaches, the staff, they all want to win. The players all want to win. See, it's higher ups that want to lose. So maybe Jeff Saturday puts him back in, or maybe because Jeff Saturday is Jim Irsay's boy, Irsay told him to low key tank and just be subtle about it. Keep Ellinger in and just keep losing games. But this Colts squad, they almost beat the Commanders the other week. Well, other than that, I mean, this team has been, dog poop this year. It's been poopy for them.
It's been a very, very, very bad year for them. And we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. Things could always change, but I mean, for the most part, it's safe to say that this move is more likely than not a reason to gain draft capital and just continue to lose games to get yourself in a better position for the future, which is what this team needs to do at this point. And Jeff Saturday is the start of that. Now, let's take a look at the top 3 players this week from this past week, I should say. Starting at number 3, we got to go with the man. He is no stranger to the occasion and probably on several occasions has been given this award. Give me 1 sec. I don't know why my audio... I hate it when I go on ESPN and the audio is like screaming a commercial in my ear when I'm talking.
It's pretty bad, dude. But I'll actually drop it while this audio is going on. And I told Chet, we got to put this man in the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's the MVP of the league, man, this year. I'm telling you right now. It's not Jalen Hurts. It's not Josh Allen. It's Patrick Mahomes throwing for 400 yards in back-to-back games, willing his team to victory. Sure, the Chiefs have blown the Titans out, obviously. But Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL. He had a great game plan. But Mahomes, willing his team to victory. Titans had 7 yards of offense in the second half in overtime, by the way. Just got to drop that nugget before I forget.
That's funny.
Mahomes threw for 446. He completed 43 passes, third most in the game of all time on 68 attempts. And, we had to put him on the list. It's just a valiant, classic Patrick Mahomes comeback victory.
Yep.
And, there were a lot of great contenders at the third spot, but, it's got to be Mahomes, baby. I got to give it to him. Maybe even Brady, too, that game-winning drive. Psych, it's Mahomes.
It had to be Mahomes. Like you said, 446 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And then you look at his the receivers, Kelsey and Juju Smith-Schuster each had 10 catches in this game. 17 targets for Kelsey, 12 for Juju.
The ball out. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful to watch him play.
It really is. It really is. And then, hey, the run game was struggling. Literally, these are the rushing numbers. Michael Burton, 0 yards. Jerick McKinnon, 4 yards. Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 5 yards. Patrick Mahomes leads with 6 carries for 63 yards and a touchdown. This guy did everything. He found the open man through the air, and he found the open lanes on the ground. This guy deserves that number 3 spot here on this list right now. I mean, hey, he's Patrick Mahomes. What more can we say? Now, number 2, this guy is a guy who, Duffy, you have and I guess I'll take credit too. We have just really shit on this guy for a long time. Ever since he entered the league.
Post just keeps aging terribly by the week.
Yeah, so everybody who's known about this joke will know what we're talking about here. Our number 2 guy is quarterback Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields had a baller of a day once again. Only threw for 123 passing yards, but had 3 passing touchdowns, 1 going to Darnell Mooney and 2 to Cole Kmet, and then had 15 carries for 178 yards on the ground and a touchdown. 1 was a 61-yard run. And I remember I saw a clip of Mike McDaniel on the sideline yelling to Justin Fields to stop that with what he was doing.
Did you afterwards too?
No, I didn't actually.
He's just so funny. He's like, I just told him on the sideline, stop it.
Yeah.
I'm sure other coaches know he doesn't listen, but But anyways, Justin Fields, I've been a hater of his since last year. I can't lie. For the last 3 weeks. It started with me going to the Bears-Pats game. He shut me up. He just shut me up. 80 yards against the Pats on the ground. I think he had 80 last week too against whoever they played. It was against Dallas.
Yeah.
Had 80 more rushing yards. And this week, the single game regular season record for rushing yards by a quarterback, 178. Playoff all-time is Kaepernick against Green Bay 10 years ago. Can't forget that game. But Justin Fields, man, 3 touchdown passes, career high. 5 touchdowns, no picks the last 2 games. Bears, they're still kind of eerie about letting him sling the rock, 30 times a game or even 20 times a game. But, he looks confident now. That's all you need as a quarterback in the NFL is you got to be confident because he has the skills. Everyone knows he has the skills. He was the best quarterback coming from his high school class. Was arguably the best quarterback in college when he was at Ohio State. And now he's looking like him, finally. It's about time. It really is about time. And, I'm happy for the guy, man. I really am. Despite how wrong I've been about him. I mean, I think the recency bias is a little bit crazy, but that Dolphins defense, they've had some tough outings this year. But that's a good defense, and everyone knows that's one of the best defenses in the league in terms of personnel and who they got on all three parts of the defensive side of the ball. And Justin Fields, he lit them up. He lit them up with ease, and if they win that game, he's probably number one on the list in my opinion. But very impressive for him to even be at number two in a losing effort, and that's just how impressive he really was on Sunday, man. It was a great show to watch. That was probably the best game of the week.
Yeah, I really wish I got to sit down and watch that game in particular. But Justin Fields, they finally let him off the leash a bit. And they got to continue to let him play because the more he plays the way he's been playing, the better the Bears are going to do going down the road. And the more confident I'm going to feel in the Bears. Because honestly, these last 3 weeks have totally made my conception of the Chicago Bears a completely different reality. This team actually looks like if they get Fields a few different pieces, they could actually be a contender in the North in a year or two. This is a team that's been rebuilding for quite a while, ever since Mitch Trubisky came in, brought this team to the playoffs with a solid defense. Now they're kind of getting back to basics again. And the young pieces that they brought in, the moves they've made, trading like Robert Quinn to the Eagles, this is good for them. They're, despite not giving up a ton of capital, a ton of players, they've already gone through the rebuild process. And even though they're still going through it, it's transitioning in an upward trend now at this point for me. And Justin Fields is the vocal point of that.
Sure is. And I gotta, give a quick shout out to your brother, Maggie, to Instagram comment demon, as we mentioned on this podcast a few times. I'm just scrolling through the gram yesterday.
Yeah.
The Bears, and he commented the Bears are going to be good, actually going to be good in a few years. I think it was like the third highest comment on the post.
Wow.
Yeah, team will be good in a couple of years for sure. Maybe even next year. This NFC North is depleting. Aaron Rodgers might not even be in the division next year. Honestly, he might not. The way he's been playing this year, and the way he's been handling his situation in Green Bay. But yeah, dude, the Bears are going to be good. Their defense is good. Defense brought them back in a few games. They sucked against the Dolphins, but Dolphins have one of the best, most electrifying, toughest to guard offenses in the National Football League. But the Chicago Bears, man, they've impressed me. They blew out my team, so can't say too much. The defense has been pretty bad the last couple of weeks, but they're not terrible for the whole season.
Yeah.
They've been pretty bad the last couple of weeks, but they can just pick things up on both sides of the ball. And it's crazy. This is crazy that with the Chicago Bears, their identity is shifting from defense to offense right now the last few weeks.
Oh, yeah. Because that was a defensive team for like as long as I can remember.
Yeah, literally our whole lives, basically. They've never had a good quarterback ever.
Except for Jay Cutler.
Good. Yeah. Good. He was
prime time Jay Cutler was good.
Yeah, he didn't really have a prime, but he kind of did. He kind of did.
But with Brandon Marshall,
whenever he was good, he was always one of those 20 interception a year type of guys. He was a turnover machine. He had a great arm, gunslinger, 3 touchdowns. They scored a lot of points. Matt Forte, Brandon Marshall, Alshon Jeffrey too. Can't forget about him for a couple of years. But Bears getting back to those roots, and I'm excited for Justin Fields, for him to just keep proving me wrong.
Yeah. So that's our number 2 guy. Now for the number 1 guy. Last week we had 3 running backs. This week we only have 1. And this running back, honestly, didn't expect it whatsoever in terms of the production he put up. Fantasy numbers, nobody could have predicted this. And I got to say, I'm happy because I had him in 3 of my leagues. So that was huge to have him go off. Joe Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals has struggled all season long. But last week against the Carolina Panthers, put up 200 total yards from scrimmage and 5 touchdowns. 4 on the ground on 158 rushing yards. And then through the air, he had 4 catches for 58 yards and a touchdown. Once again, 4 on the ground, 1 yards in the air.
It's crazy. I have him on my fantasy team that means the most to me, our league, NS Gamblers.
Yep.
I was a loser of 3 in a row or 2 in a row in pretty bad fashion. Joe Mixon, also Devontae Adams, who was an honorable mention for our list, going for 10 for about 46 and a touchdown. But Mixon, 53 fantasy points. And it was crazy because, like, whenever a guy gets that many touchdowns, he had like 32 in the first half. Before his receiving touchdown at the end of the first half, you got to ask yourself, you're like, man, when's this going to stop? He's got to cap out soon, right?
Yeah.
Nah, dude. He went from 30 to 50 like an hour. It was crazy.
Nuts.
It was nuts. And it's very satisfying for us Mixon owners. He was getting the RB1 touches, obviously. He was getting the yards, but he only had 2 touchdowns before Sunday all year. And then he hit out for 5, total touchdowns this Sunday and it was a great pick-me-up game against the abysmal Carolina Panthers. They're the worst team in the league right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, despite that,
made me smile.
Despite those numbers, I think this proves for Joe Mixon, at least going forward, he's on a bye week this week. This could turn the tables in terms of the Cincinnati Bengals run offense, because that's something that's really struggled this year. And I think this game was huge to not just Joe Mixon, but that offensive line to really establish a dominant run offense. And I think we'll see Mixon have a great second half of the year going forward, at least in my opinion.
Bengals got some also tough games ahead. They got some notable games: Tennessee, KC, Tampa, New England, if you want to even include Tampa and New England, but Buffalo and Baltimore too. So it's a 5-4 squad. They're right on the brink of being over 500, or they are over 500, but barely. They got to win these close games. They need more games like this out of Joe Mixon for them and for guys like us who have him in fantasy as our RB1. But yeah, player of the week goes to him. Absolutely. It's not even close.
Oh, yeah. Definitely, without a doubt. Joe Mixon, congratulations on getting Chet and Duffy's player of the week for week 9. So now
McCaffrey and Mixon as our 2 players of the week so far. We're into this every single week. Yeah, man. Usually going to be a Monday thing, but we didn't do our show Monday. But we're back. We are back.
We are back indeed. So now we'll take a look at what we have for the Thursday night preview. Tonight's game, Falcons against the Panthers in Carolina. Panthers at 2-7 hosting the 4-5 Atlanta Falcons. PJ Walker looking to bounce back against the first place in the AFC South. Atlanta Falcons being led by Marcus Mariota. I mean, Duffy, we'll go through this game really quick because it's going to be it's one of those Thursday night games that honestly, I feel so bad that Al Michaels has to do these games. Like, I really do. I don't know why.
I don't feel bad for him anymore because he takes on us by not giving a single shit when he commentates. So he just sounds like he's pissed off the whole game. That's what annoys me.
Well, I wish he did Sunday still.
I wish, dude. SNF is not the same without Al Michaels, man. I love the Michaels-Collinsworth duo. Will go down as one of the most underrated duos in broadcasting history, in my opinion. I'm a big Collinsworth guy, admittedly. I really do like Collinsworth. People don't like him, but he knows his stuff. He's one of the best ever to do it. But this game, Panthers, Falcons, and we can call it a doozy all we want. It might be, it very well could be. But that game the other week, Panthers, Falcons, the first time they played, that was probably the game of the year so far. I mean,
yeah.
That DJ Moore Hail Mary from PJ Walker. Crazy they're meeting twice in 3 weeks. Being in Carolina now makes you want to low-key pick the Panthers, a little PJ Walker revenge game for and the kicker too, who missed the extra point and the field goal in overtime, Eddie Pinheiro. But it's crazy too, because if the Panthers won that game, they would have been 3-5, and because they beat the Falcons and Bucks, they would have been atop the NFC South. So crazy thing about 2 weeks later, actually 11 days later, huh? 11 days later, Thursday. But this will probably be a doozy. I think the Falcons honestly blow them out. I know it's in Carolina, but Falcons offense is electric. I don't think their defense is going to, be that bad against the Panthers again, especially with the way the Panthers played a few days ago, coming off a short week too.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers got blown out the other day, right?
Yes, 42-20 something.
Against the Bengals. We just talked about it. Yeah. So there's a lot of question marks in Carolina right now, especially at the quarterback position. We got Baker Mayfield and PJ Walker, and Coach Wilkes said that PJ Walker will get the start still tonight. But I think it's gonna be Atlanta 24-10, 27-10.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna take the Falcons too. Falcons just got Cordero Patterson back, and they already have a strong run game. That they've used. Coming off of IR, he already had a touchdown last week. maybe two. I'm pretty sure it might have been one or two. But
He did have
regardless,
two. Yes,
yeah,
he scored on the first drive, and then he had a big run beginning the second half. And I
yeah,
benched him in the only league I had him in. So
that sucks. But regardless, I mean, hey, the Panthers just let up over 200 rushing yards, 200 scrimmage yards to one tailback, and I'm sure they'll probably do the same to the tandem that Marcus Mariota has, on top of Marcus Mariota himself, who can run the ball. So they've got a good pass offense. Drake London and Kyle Pitts, solid pieces right there, and just everything else. Falcons should easily walk away with a victory in this one. Final score, I'd say, I'm going to go 28, 26-7.
that was just.
I'm trying not to go too far off your score.
It's where you loaded up your prediction. 26, 7. That was fun. Give me the Falcons, because I'm really high on the Falcons to win the NFC South train right now.
Yeah.
I know the Bucks probably will. They already have the tiebreaker at the moment. They'll play again later in the season, but
Yeah.
Bucks have a harder schedule. Falcons are getting all. Let me see the Falcons schedule actually. Sitting at 4 and 5. They really needed that win on Sunday this past week.
Bears, Commanders, Steelers, Saints, Ravens, Cardinals, Bucks.
Yeah,
Bucks
a lot of winnable games there, So,
yeah.
And you never know. Maybe that Week 18 matchup between the Falcons and Bucks will be 2 8-8 teams fighting for the number 4 seed on Sunday Night Football. So we'll see. Falcons need this one, and I think they're going to get it tonight.
Hell yeah. They'll get to 500, and we'll see where they go from there.
So first place in the division, especially after that Brady comeback victory on Sunday. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So 2 more segments to go. The first one, we do this every single year. We've done it since First Things Last, our original podcast. And now we're going to do it here, our NFL midseason awards. And we're starting all the way from the bottom. We're going to start with Comeback Player of the Year. Duffy, you and I have 2 differing opinions on it, but I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley. I just think the numbers we've seen Saquon Barkley put up this season compared to the last 2 seasons, it's just unbelievable. He's come off the injuries, and he's really rebounded into that superstar tailback that the New York Giants wanted to draft and that the league knew was in this player. Give it to Saquon Barkley, in my opinion.
I don't mind that pick at all. It's a trendy pick, but the odds on books have changed recently and have now put Geno Smith, my pick, in the favor. I've been picking Geno Smith the last month of the season, honestly. I've been so high on him for this award, and I want to see it so bad for him, dude. Geno Smith, we're looking at 9 starts this year, and he's thrown double-digit touchdown passes in 7 of them. This is a guy that no one expected Seattle to be in this spot. I think they were +2. I think they were +20, like 800 to win the division beginning of the year.
Yeah, and it's crazy that Pete Carroll
like $140 to win the division. So, I'm a huge fan of Geno Smith this year. I think he's just proved everyone wrong. And if you watch Seattle Seahawks games too, he just throws dots. I think he's the most accurate passer in the NFL right now. That's from the eye test, but the stats say it too. He's completing 73% of his passes this year. He's throwing dimes literally all year. And not a single person would have saw this coming. And we saw it from the first game of the year too. He's been consistent game in, game out. That first game of the year against the Denver Broncos, the revenge game for Russ Wilson, spoiled by Geno Smith, going 17 of 18 in the first half. I remember seeing it on the screen at Muse Tavern, actually. And I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. I didn't know he was like that.
Yeah.
But, Geno Smith, I'm big on him. My boy Ben Catino has always been big on him the last, years I can remember. As long as I can remember, he's always loved Geno Smith. I can see why now, man. He's coming back to being a top 5 quarterback in the league. We've heard for the last month, when will this Geno Smith bubble burst? When will he not be an MVP candidate anymore? And it still hasn't bursted yet. They have won games they should not have won. To be frank, they went on the road to beat the Chargers. They beat the Arizona Cardinals twice, a playoff team last year. They beat the New York Giants, the 6-1 Giants, the other week. And I think he just won NFC Offensive Player of the Month, Geno Smith. So give me Geno. Different type of award. I think the last time we saw a player win it from just simply not being great the year before was Tannehill a few years ago, 2019, and Phillip Rivers in 2013. Geno Smith, he's coming back, not even being good. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now. So he Geno.
Yeah.
And 4, none, like 6, but
All right, so trying to breeze through some more of these. Going
I
for
just
coach.
love Geno Smith. I'm sorry, man. I give my Geno Smith takes.
I was like, Jesus.
He gets me so hyped. Just the way he's
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of zoned out for half of that talk.
No, because you're a casual. You don't watch any football anymore.
That's not. Bro, don't roast me like that. You know why I can't
watch any football anymore. You have not watched any Seahawks film. This is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League, bro. Dude, I'm telling you, bro. They're gonna win.
I've literally seen it. You act like I haven't. I have. Just I haven't watched the full games of it. I haven't had the time, bro.
I think when eventually a Seattle game gets flexed to Sunday Night Football, make sure you watch it. It's gonna be a masterpiece.
No.
Well, they're playing the Niners on Thursday night in a few weeks, so
that'll be a good game. All right, another coach of the year for me, Nick Sirianni. I mean, Sirianni as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles in his first year last year brings them to the playoffs at 7-9, I believe, or 8-9.
9-8.
9-8. There you go. Winning record just over 1, and even though they lose to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, people knew right away, hey, this team might have a chance come next year to be more talented, and they've done that. 8-0 start. This team is the only undefeated team in the league right now. Still has a very tough schedule ahead of itself. Still a game against the Dallas Cowboys, 2 against, the Giants, and then some other tough games going on there. Their schedule has been pretty easy up until this point, but the road only gets tougher for them. But Nick Sirianni right now, he has just exceeded the expectations, going from 9 wins last year to 8 right away this year, and no losses to back that. So give me Nick Sirianni. He's just really taken Jalen Hurts and propelled him into an MVP status, as well as getting A.J. Brown and getting that offense in sync, and that defense is just looking stellar in all shape and forms of the game. This is a complete football team thanks to this man as the head coach.
No, I agree. I think that Sirianni is definitely the leading candidate. He's probably going to win it, no doubt about it. Especially with the way they've propelled Jalen Hurts in this upper echelon of NFL quarterbacks. Because I was never a big Jalen Hurts guy before this year. I thought he was kind of a mid passer. Didn't think he was all that. Now he looks like a potential MVP candidate, probably number 2 or number 1 or 3. He's definitely in the top 3, depending on how you look at it. But I'm going to go with another young 30-something-year-old risk taker. Just play devil's advocate to Chet. Give me Mike McDaniel, man. This is a Dolphins squad that has turned it up. Everyone had so many question marks around Tua. And if he could support, 2 really great playmaker receivers, and now he's got both those guys in the top 5 of the league in receiving yards through 9 weeks. And, 2 top 5 fantasy guys too. This guy, Tua, he's been amazing with Mike McDaniel as his head coach. And McDaniel, he's won games in different ways. He's won some high-scoring games against Baltimore, against Chicago last week. He's won low-scoring games like against the Pittsburgh Steelers the other weekend on Sunday Night Football. And, have the Dolphins been good without Tua? No, they haven't. They went, 0-2 without him, and they lost the game that he, the concussion thing with with the Bengals. It was terrible. But I think that Mike McDaniel has been a difference maker. He was one of the best offensive minds in the league when he was up in San Francisco, and he's really elevated the Dolphins to being one of the scariest offenses in the NFL. And I think probably the 3rd scariest in the AFC right now, behind AC and Buffalo.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And I mean, Mike McDaniel's swagger is just a little bit more different than what we expect from most head coaches.
I can never tell if he's baked. I feel like he
I don't know. He kind of reminds me of a college frat guy. Like I said, he looks like that kid Hunter from Fans Only Sports.
Shout out to our boy Hunter G. Vanille.
Yeah.
He does look a little bit like him. Yeah.
All right, now for Defensive Rookie of the Year. You and I both came to an agreement on this one. Sauce Gardner, cornerback for the New York Jets. He's just been very solid all year long. I mean, when you look at the statistics real quick, I'm just trying to scroll back up so I can actually see what I took on notes for this one. I mean, it's just the pass defense has been solid. And I mean, Buffalo only managed to put up 17 points on 9 drives, and the Jets managed to get 2 picks. in this one. I mean, Sauce Gardner has just been unbelievable, and he leads the league with 13 passes defended right now as a rookie.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Sauce has been phenomenal. Allowing a 59.6 quarterback rating, I believe it was. And I saw his stats in man coverage yesterday on Twitter. It was like a list of all the good receivers he's played this year, like Jamar Chase, for example, and like, I'm trying to think of all the teams they play, like Stephon Diggs. In man coverage, he's allowed 4 catches through the first 9 games, which is so incredible, so impressive. And I think it's even more impressive when you take into account that he was the 4th pick in the draft and the 4th defensive player off the board in the draft. I mean, the first 3 picks were all defensive guys. He was the 4th one taken. Second cornerback taken after Derek Stingley Jr., who's also having a great year as well. Can't throw shade at him at all, but Sauce Gardner's been that dude. And he's elevated that Jets defense to a whole other tier, man. They've been spectacular this year.
Yeah, and the crazy part is statistically, as of right now, he's playing better than Darrelle Revis did as a rookie, which is a lot, like, is really, really crazy to see.
Let's keep our brakes on right now for that.
They're saying he's on pace.
This happens every year, though, But hey, he looks like Revis Sauce Island a little bit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say
so much swag. That pick of, I love the Pats, but if I could get one AFC East pick framed, it would be Sauce Gardner wearing the Packers cheese head after they beat the Packers. That's a lit pick.
That is honestly. All right, now it's time to look at Offensive Rookie of the Year. Duffy, this was something that we kind of went back and forth on a little bit, but I ended up going with Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave for the Saints has definitely been huge in terms of keeping that offensive production up. Michael Thomas, I don't even know if he's ever going to play a game again in the NFL. This guy just can't get healthy. This was a man.
Bag and dip, baby.
He literally has the record for the most receptions in a single season. It's crazy. Yeah. And now this guy is just almost inexistable. This was a wide receiver that people thought could be a Hall of Famer one day with how he's played. But Chris Olave coming into the league has really been solid in his rookie year. The 11th overall pick of the draft has 43 receptions for 618 yards. That's 9th in the league. Only 2 receiving touchdowns, but he's putting up the numbers, and he's just played very solid as he is averaging 14 yards per reception. He's just looked like the best offensive piece to me.
Solid. I got offered him a fantasy for James Conner. I really wish I took that like a few weeks ago, but I mean, Chris Olave's been great. He's on pace for 1,000-yard year, about 1,200 yards. Saints team's not been too good, but he's been a good part of it. These Ohio State boys receiving have been great this year with Garrett Wilson too, making a difference for the Jets. And Chris Olave looks like a beast through the first nine games of the year for New York, but I'm going to have to go play devil's advocate again, and I'm going to say that the Offensive Rookie of the Year is the second Seahawk on my list so far. Give me Kenneth Walker III. It's a guy who's just stepped up so big the last few weeks with Rashad Penny breaking his fibula or tibia. And, 7 touchdowns in the last 5 games for Kenneth Walker. He's been a beast. He's been, he's been the biggest regret, I think, for fantasy owners who took him and then dropped him this year. I definitely did that in a couple leagues with Kenneth Walker, unfortunately. But he's a beast. And Seahawks have won 4 in a row, I believe, and he's been a big part of it. Starting the last 4 games, and all those games. I think about 3 of those games they were underdogs in. So. I mean, that's some big stuff for Kenneth Walker. And I think, with the way he's been playing, there really is no clear-cut favorite for Rookie of the Year offensively like there usually is. But I think if Seattle makes the playoffs and he gets over 1,000 yards and, say the Saints finish like 7-10, then I think you got to give it to Kenneth Walker. So.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker.
Olave will be second, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, Kenneth Walker already has 500 rushing yards. In the last 2 weeks, he's had 5 touchdowns. And I mean, the last 3 weeks, I should say. 3 weeks ago, 167 rushing yards. Last week, 109 rushing yards. This guy is just going off every way, shape, and form on the ground game. Kenneth Walker definitely has a very clear-cut position to go for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, let's take a look at the defensive player of the year. And you and me, Duffy, both came to the conclusion on that and the offensive player of the year. So we'll just combine both these two together, and then we'll get to the top one. But Micah Parsons for defensive player of the year, and then offensive player of the year, Tyreek Hill. I mean, Micah Parsons, you look at Micah Parsons this season, great in his rookie year last year, but this year has 8 sacks, 14 quarterback knockdowns, which rank among the league leaders. He also has 9 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery that he took to the house against the Bears in week 8. No interceptions on the year
as well, you know.
But regardless, Micah Parsons, he's a beast. He really is a beast. We all knew he was going to be coming into the league, and Cowboys are definitely lucky to have a piece like him when they always had good linebackers like Leighton Vander Esch, who's still on the team, and then Sean Lee, who was good for a long time. But now Micah Parsons has really stepped up and looks like he could potentially be the Aaron Donald of linebackers, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times with defensive player of the year, a lot of us through the narrative before the season and during it. I feel like last year was a lot of TJ Watt got robbed, this and that, and he ends up winning it. Last year, I mean, he did have 22.5 sacks, so he was going to win it anyways. But
yeah,
I think this year with Michael Parsons, he's definitely the clear-cut favorite to win it this year because of the rookie year he had, and he's been living up to the hype. I mean, 8 sacks, like you said, take away machine so far, forcing fumbles, and like you said, that touch against the Bears, one of the funniest plays in recent memory with Justin Fields not touching him,
Yeah.
But he's been a beast this year. He deserves it if he gets it. But keep an eye out for Matt Judon, 11.5 sacks in 8 games, and that's not just me as a Pats fan, or 9 games actually, not just me as a Pats fan saying that, because he might get 20 sacks himself, and 20 sacks would be tough to not give defensive player of the year to. Just ask Justin Houston what that feels like.
Absolutely. And then offensive player of the year, like we said, Tyreek Hill, through 9 games, has 1,104 receiving yards. That's 237 more yards than Justin Jefferson right behind him. He leads the league in catches right now with 76 and 48 first downs. This is a guy who has 36%. That's the league's second highest target ratio, and generating 4.4 yards per route run. It's crazy. It's crazy the amount of data that they've gotten in on this. But Hill averages more yards every time he runs a route, more than Randy Moss did in 2007 as of right now. These are just crazy numbers. Tyreek Hill, we already knew he was good. And honestly, he was talking about how great Tua Tagovailoa was, that he said he was better than Patrick Mahomes. The argument, I mean, hey, let's not say he's better, but case in point, the production. Tyreek Hill is putting up much larger numbers than he ever did in Kansas City in his first year in Miami. And it's crazy to see. And this guy is, without a doubt,
ridiculous to see,
running away with this award.
I mean, look at his numbers. He has 5 games with 140 or more yards, and 4 games with 150 or more yards. And he did a couple of those with Bridgewater and Skylar Thompson as his quarterback. I mean, this guy doesn't even matter who the quarterback is. He's
going to get open.
With Hill, he's going to get open. He's that guy. He's always been that guy. He made the biggest play in the Super Bowl when they won it with the Chiefs 3 years ago on that 3rd and 15, because he is that guy. He's been the best receiver in the league this year. I wouldn't say the last few years, because obviously Cooper Kupp had that crazy year last year.
Yeah.
Adams the year before. But this is the year of Tyreek Hill. And I think he'll be the second straight receiver to win Offensive Player of the Year, and on pace for 2,000 yards. I mean, he's averaging 30 more yards per game than the next guy.
Yeah.
Jefferson on that list. So crazy nuggets. He's been insane this year to watch. I'm so glad I traded for him in the one league that I have him in. Traded Debo for him in like week 4 with Will Reyes. So
wow, that's nuts.
Feels good. Feels good to have it, man. But he's a beast, and I think it's just a shame that he's only got in the end zone 3 times this year. That's the only thing. But Megatron only got in the end zone 5 times when he had 1,900 yards. So hey, we'll see. We had a lot more football left to Tyreek Hill. Burst of speed of the end zone.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now for the final award, the league MVP. And Duffy kind of already dropped this already, so we'll kind of just skip to it. It's a tough one because right now what most people have is a fringe 1 and 2 pick between Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, but we both came to an agreement. Give it to Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes right now, 2,605 passing yards. That's first in the NFL in passing yards. 21 touchdowns, first in the league in passing yards. Only has 6 picks. That's tied 18th in the league. And then QBR, 75.4. That's second in the NFL. This is a guy who just, even with the loss of Tyreek Hill, has brought the Chiefs exactly where they need to be. They are 6-2. They are first place in the AFC West. And this is just a dominant football team. And the only thing that I'd say that prevents this team from going any place is the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills defeating the Chiefs at home 24-20. But regardless, Patrick Mahomes played great in the game. And I think at the end of the day, he is the sole reason why this team goes to the promised land almost every single season or is on the doorstep of it. And this year, he's just proven that regardless, you take away his best weapon, he's still going to be the best quarterback in football.
No, absolutely. And I think it's very close between him and Hurts. I mean, Allen, that loss to the Jets is going to hurt, but he's definitely not out of it either, especially at midseason. There's a lot of football left, but Mahomes, the way he's been playing, willing his team to victories, come from behind victories too. They got down in a lot of these games against the Raiders down 7-7. They got down early against the Niners. We're down 10-0 against the Titans last week. I mean, just one of those guys. You're never out of the game with Mahomes. I'm a big Mahomes fan just because he's just such a beautiful player to watch play football.
Beautiful.
He makes the game look so beautiful, man. He's so effortless. Everything. He's the best quarterback in the league, and I think everything's going to point to him being a top 3 quarterback ever, or 5 at least.
Yeah,
I'll hold my horses a little bit, but
yeah,
man, he's just a great player to watch, and this year really shows it just as much as anything. Especially like you said, losing Tyreek Hill. He hasn't skipped a beat, and he's gonna have his best season on pace to since his MVP year back in 2018. So I'm excited to see he's gonna be able to do these last 8 games. He's got some tough games ahead.
Yep.
But it's Mahomes, so he'll make it work, and
he will.
We'll see it again. But if Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, if they win 15, 16 games, it'll be tough not to give it to Jalen Hurts. But if Mahomes throws 45 touchdowns and 8 picks, then it'll be tough not to give it to Mahomes too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Really close. This is one of the closer MVP races we've had in the last few years.
Last
couple of years it was kind of just Rodgers kind of snuck away at the second half of the year. Mahomes kind of played his way out the last couple of years, and Lamar Jackson the year before. It was his the whole season. But so this is gonna be one of the closest races we've had probably in the last 10 years. So I'm excited for it.
As am I. We'll see how things play out there. Those are Chet and Duffy's mid-season awards here on Fans Only Sports Network, or Unapologetic, I should say. And we'll recap. We'll probably have an updated version come the end of the season. And then, of course, once the awards are presented. So that's months in advance, though. So now we move on to the final segment that we all know you love and dear very much, and that's locks and upset picks. We're going to breeze through these quick because I know Duffy has to skedaddle and less than right now, basically.
I can push it to 1. I can push 10 more minutes.
Fair. All right. So
I already showered. I got to go to school. I'm still a student.
Yeah, still a student. He's still got priorities to his education. So now, lock for this week. I'm going to take the Giants -4.5 over the Houston Texans. Very interesting that the spread is this close, but I'm guessing they're kind of giving it to them because the Giants were just blown out in Seattle. However, this game is at home. It is in New York. And that Texan run defense, the burp kind of is a good way to describe it. It's not good. It's not very good at all. So for the most part, I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a great run game day. That pass defense the Texans have, abysmal. I think we'll see Daniel Jones be able to air the ball out a little bit more than usual, but Giants, they should be able to take care of business very easily at home. Could be a little bit closer due to the fact that the Giants defense, it's all right, but it's not all there really at the end of the day. For me, I'm going to give a final score in this one of 27-20.
Definitely a Mickey pick, but I can't call it too Mickey. Mine's pretty Mickey as well.
Yeah.
Giants will win that. I think they're going to cover the spread pretty comfortably. I think they're going to win it even by more than 27-20, honestly. Texans going to the Meadowlands, they're going to get smoked. Even with the long week of preparation they just played last Thursday. Nah, Giants just cough the bye. the Giants by like at least 14. But my lock got two struggling teams. Also, the loser in this is an AFC South opponent. Give me the Vegas Raiders -6 at home against the Colts. I don't think there's any way Jeff Saturday wins his first game as Colts head coach.
Be nuts. Be nuts.
No way. And if McDaniels and the Raiders find a way to lose this game, there's no way he's not getting fired. Like this, he's the number one coach on the hot seat right now. It's a must win for the Raiders. Their season's already kind of toast. They're 2-6 right now.
It's awful.
I think last week against the Jags kind of effectively ended their season in terms of making the playoffs, especially with the division they play in. But before the year, I said the AFC West would go Chiefs, Chargers, Denver, Raiders, and everyone was giving me crap saying, "Oh, the Raiders got Devontae Adams." I'm like, when have the Raiders ever lived up to the expectations? Ever? Never. And I'm digressing a little bit. They'll win this game, though. They'll win this game by a score.
I was going to say, damn, you're really like taking a crap on them despite saying they're going to win this game.
Them, but they're going to drop 30. Colts are going to be lucky to drop 10. Give me 31-9, the final score.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a number I could see going up there. I mean, Josh Jacobs, he's the cowbell there. He's literally looked unbelievable this season. Derek Carr, I don't know what's up with that guy, but he just can't really seem to put up the numbers he was putting up last year.
It's overrated him, so badly. It's been disgusting the last few years how overrated he is.
Yeah, it's proven it, and it's proven. Even with this guy in college, he can't air the ball out he's finding them, but then there's some games where Devontae Adams is getting one catch for like 2 yards, and it's like, are you freaking kidding me? How does that even add up? Like Aaron Rodgers would never have let that happen. This guy's putting up at least over 50 yards a week, maybe even more than that, over 75, I'll say. But Raiders, yeah, give me them. Colts, look, just abysmal. Jeff Irsay looks like he's just ready to like push the tank button. Hires Jeff Saturday, who's no coaching experience, to save his life. So, I mean, at the end of this one, Raiders, yeah, give me the Raiders final score of 35-12.
I'm actually going to take the Raiders right now, honestly. I don't even care. They're going to blow them out.
You're going to take the Raiders winning the division too?
Hell no, dude.
I know. I'm just playing. I just wanted to
say thanks, man. None for me.
Now for upset. Upsets were a little bit difficult this week, but I decided to take +1.5 Arizona Cardinals against Los Angeles. Los Angeles, dude. Oh my God. Like, talk about fall from grace. Last season being one of the best teams in football. This year, they look at a 3-5 record. They're 2-3 at home right now. Matt Stafford has 8 touchdowns and 8 picks on the year. Cooper Kupp might be questionable going into this one, as he did come down with an injury last week. So I just think this really opens the door for Kyler Murray. He's had 12 touchdowns to 6 interceptions and over 2,000 passing yards. Both of those stats much higher than that of Matt Stafford. The run game has not been strongly established there, but ever since the reemergence of DeAndre Hopkins from post-suspension, he has just looked fantastic. The connection is back, and it's there, and that's the connection that Matt Stafford has with Cooper Kupp, is what Kyler Murray has there. This one's going to be a lot closer. I definitely agree with the spread at +1.5. It's probably going to come down to the wire. I'm going to say a final score in this one is going to be 24-22.
That's a good pick for the spread that it is, but this is one of the closest games of the week, and definitely one of the most important games of the NFL this week. Because this Cardinals team, 3-5 on the year, they've looked awful this year, or 3-6. Actually.
Yeah, they're 3-6.
3-6 in the year. Rams are 3-5. Sean McVay's job is safe, but Cliff Kingsbury's job. If they lose this game, he'll be on the hot seat the rest of the year permanently. He already is in the hot seat a little bit. They've lost a lot of games they should win, and all these games coming up ahead are tough games. I mean, they've only won one home game this year. And I saw a stat saying that they've lost their record in the Kingsbury era at home is like 10-19 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Right now it was sub 500, but I'm going to take the Rams at home this game. I think this is more important for them, and they have more of a chance to climb back in the division. just because the Cardinals. I mean, this team looks so defeated. They're on the in-season Hard Knocks. You might have seen that clip of Buda Baker in the locker room the other day getting emotional, but I think he'll be crying tears after this one. Give me the Rams at home. I think it'll be close. It'll be probably 26 to 9, 26 to 20. 26-20. It'll be ugly. No, they're not even going to score that many points. I'm going to say 20 to 16 Rams. It's going to be an ugly game. This Rams offense has looked terrible this season. So one-dimensional, but the Cardinals have looked even worse. So give me the Rams at home. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be a slug. It's going to be a slugfest.
Cardinals upcoming games, and you got the Rams, you got the Niners twice, the Chargers, Pats, Denver, Tampa, and Atlanta. I mean, they might only win 2 of those games, 3 of those games. This is a team that's going to go 6-11, 5-12 easily, and
which is crazy. Last year going 8-0, and then and making the postseason just barely. But
I mean, 7-0 it was. They lost to the Packers, who were 6-1.
Yeah,
but it was still a great start, but not off to a hot start this year, and it's been looking pretty bad. All
right, let's hear your upset.
Final segment of the show, final sub-segment of the segment, my upset. I'm staying high on the Seahawks train, man. Give me Seattle in Germany this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, the first ever NFL game in Germany. I'm sure the Germans are going to be so hyped to see Tom Brady play, but Geno Smith is going to spoil that, and the Bucs are going to move to 7. The Seahawks will move to 7-3. It's going to be crazy, and give me Seattle on the road. Not on the road. I mean, Bucs are the home team, but Seattle. The time zone will be a huge difference maker for both teams, but Seattle it's going to impact Seattle more, traveling, 9 hours ahead.
Yeah,
but it's going to be tough. But this team's gritty. They've won all these games they shouldn't have won. Their bubble will burst eventually, but there weren't too many good upsets on the slate this week. So give me Seattle +3. They're going to win this one, a close one for all the Germans, 24-21.
For all the Germans. They're doing it for Germany this time around. I mean,
they're up on a show, Those London games this year were crazy. So far.
I mean, hey, here's the thing. Bucs sitting at 4-5. Their defense, hasn't really looked too hot this year. That offense hasn't looked too good either. Brady, though, top 5 in passing right now in terms of yards. Only has 1 interception on the season to 10 touchdowns. But Geno Smith, 15 passing touchdowns on the season to only, I believe, 4 INTs.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker III averaging more carries, or just a little under Leonard Fournette's carry intake, but is also rushing for more yards and more touchdowns than him. However, passing game, Brady definitely dominates here, but it's surprising to me how the Seahawks defense has just been able to stay so strong and so collective without that main man, Bobby Wagner, going to LA. That team still looks so good, and it's crazy how Pete Carroll can take a franchise quarterback, ship him off for multiple draft picks, and then his team is just as good when we thought it would be a rebuild year. It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
Projected 4-13, 5-12 across every pundit, and they've already won 6 games with a comfortable, as of now, 1.5 lead in the division. So they got to extend it. It's a big game for them.
Yeah.
It's a statement game for them.
It's really tough because I almost want to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one, but
hop on the Seahawks train.
I'm going to run. Dude, I do this all the time. I reject the train because I'm not really a trendy guy in that regard. But you know what? Seahawks have proven it to me. Pete Carroll has proven it to me. Geno Smith has proven it to me. Give me the Seahawks. Final score is going to be close. I'm going to say a final score here is going to be 23-20. They sink a field goal to win it.
All right. I like it, Chet. I love it, actually.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. Very close predictions there. Give me Seattle. Yeah. Bada bing, bada boom.
Well, that does it. Here on Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy, here on Fans Only Sports Network, we thank you all for tuning into this week's episode. Very long-winded one, but we had to get everything in there for you. We'll be back next Monday, and then next Thursday we'll do another Instagram Live. Or, hey, maybe we'll do one tomorrow, a surprise one, just because why not? Pre-game show between the North Kingstown Skippers coming to Providence to take on the LaSalle Rams. That's going to be a great game that me and Duffy will be calling tomorrow night.
Absolutely. We're hyped. We're very hyped. Check us out. Check us out. Sorry, I was stuttering.
You're good. You're good.
Podcast too. We'll go live on Instagram, on the FO Sports Instagram next week as well. try to get back on that grind also. So we're excited.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. This is Chet signing off, and we will catch you all next time. And as always, go Pats.
Go Pats.